I'm Sav and this is Log of Eats. Today we're going to be making sticky toffee apple cake. These are individual spiced apple cakes with a salty, gooey toffee sauce on top. Let's take a look at the ingredients. We're going to use 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1.5 cups of vegetable oil, 2 cups of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 3 eggs, and 3 Granny Smith apples. Now for the toffee sauce, we're going to use 1 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of heavy cream, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/2 cup of butter, and a pinch of sea salt. Let's get baking. We've preheated our oven to 325, and now we're going to peel and chop our apples. So take your peeler and just peel all the skin off. Apples are peeled. Let's go ahead and chop them up. We're going to want to get rid of this core. So I just like to cut in four times around the apple and get rid of this. And we're going to dice these up. So we want little, just small cubes. Just like that, they don't have to be perfect. Small bite-sized pieces. All right, we're gonna put these in a bowl to the side. Okay, put these to the side. Let's get rid of our cutting board so we can mix the dry ingredients. We're gonna mix our dry ingredients in a large mixing bowl. So we've got 3 cups of this all-purpose flour. We'll get our measuring cup, 1 cup measuring cup. You're also gonna need a spoon and a knife. We never wanna scoop the flour up like this with our measuring cup. We're gonna get 150% more flour, which is gonna lead to like a dense and dry cake. So what we're gonna do is take our spoon, scoop in the flour like this, up to the very top. Then we're gonna take the back of our knife and level it like this, and that's a properly scooped 1 cup of flour. Dump it in our bowl and do it 2 more times. We're gonna do a teaspoon of baking soda. Make sure that is level as well. A teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And a teaspoon of kosher salt. Okay, get your whisk and whisk it up. Just make sure it's all incorporated and mixed together evenly. Let's mix up our wet ingredients now. Set those aside. We're using a KitchenAid mixer because it makes our job so much easier, but you can whisk it by hand if you don't have one of these. I'm putting on the paddle attachment. We're gonna start by pouring in our 1.5 cups of vegetable oil. Take your sugar. We need 2 cups of granulated sugar. So we'll do 4 scoops. Go ahead and turn the mixer on just low to mix that all up. Next, we're gonna add our eggs 1 at a time. Go ahead and mix that up a bit. You want your eggs to be room temperature. We don't want our eggs really cold because this is gonna make it harder to incorporate into the batter. While that's mixing, we're gonna add our vanilla extract. Now we're gonna pour our flour mixture into the wet ingredients, about 1/3 at a time. So dump in about 1/3 of the flour mixture. Set your mixer to low and give it a little bit of a mix to just incorporate the flour. Not all the way though. Turn it off add in 1/3 more. Mix it up again. Okay, let's add in the rest. Okay, now we're gonna mix this until it's just incorporated. Again, we do not want to overmix this batter. We can scrape down the sides to get all that little flour up. All right, I'm gonna take off this paddle attachment, get all of that. Get all of that batter off. We're gonna gently fold in our apples. Just mix it in gently with your spatula. This is a very thick batter. Okay, let's go ahead and put our batter now in our pans. If you wanted to make a whole cake instead, you could put it in a 9-inch bundt pan. Then you're gonna probably bake it for about 55 to 60 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. But I like little individual desserts. I think serving them to guests, they love to have their own dessert. It looks kind of more fancy. So I use little 8-ounce ramekins. We'll use a cooking spray so the cake comes out nicely of the ramekin. A little spray. Take a spoon and fill up your ramekins about 2/3 of the way full. Don't overfill these ramekins because otherwise your cake is going to overflow. And if you don't have little ramekins like this, you can also use muffin tins. So go ahead and just spray them like you did with the ramekins and fill them up 2/3 full. So I'll put our ramekins on a little baking tray. And then we'll put these in the oven. Our oven has preheated to 325, so we'll set these in there. And we'll bake them until a toothpick comes out clean and the top springs back. While our cakes are in the oven, we're gonna make our toffee sauce. So we're gonna start with a cup of brown sugar and turn on your stove to medium heat. Get your measuring cup and a spoon. I'm using a 1/2 cup measuring cup. So we'll scoop it, and we want brown sugar to be packed. So you wanna pack that in there. You can use your spoon to pack it in a little more. Scoop it in there, pack it in, and level it up. Okay, just go ahead and dump that in. Do another scoop. Okay, so let's just break up our brown sugar just a little bit, but you don't want to move it at this point. Just let it melt. Otherwise, if you start moving it around, it's gonna crystallize and become hard. We're gonna put in our butter. Just dump it in there and let it melt. Whisk it in just a little bit, get that butter all melty. You don't want it to burn, so turn down the heat if you need to. Okay, so our butter and our sugar is all melted. I'm gonna give it a good whisk. And now we're gonna add in our cream and our vanilla. Add in a little bit of vanilla, about a teaspoon. Give it a whisk. It's gonna thicken up a little bit as it simmers. Just whisk it constantly until it thickens up a bit. Our toffee sauce is ready. We want it to coat the back of the spoon like that. So we'll turn off the heat, let it cool, and it's actually going to thicken up a little bit more as it cools as well. Let's check our cakes. So the way to tell if they are done is you take a knife, insert it into the center, and it should come out clean like that. You can also just lightly press on the top and it should bounce back. So they are ready. Took them about 40 minutes. Let's take these out. Our cakes have been cooling for a few minutes. Let's go ahead and dump them out onto this baking rack. There we go. They're still quite hot, so we're gonna let them cool a little more. Okay, while these are cooling for a few more minutes, we're gonna warm up our toffee sauce. See how thick it is right now because it's cooled. But again, once we turn on that stove and it heats up, it'll become drizzable, if that's a word. These little guys are the ones that we put in the muffin tins. So they're quite a bit smaller, but again, if you don't have those ramekins, totally fine, just use a muffin tin and they still look really good. Our toffee sauce has now warmed up. You can see it's a lot thinner now. We can easily drizzle that over our cakes. We're gonna pour it into this gravy boat so it's a lot easier to drizzle. Look at that yummy toffee. Oh, I love toffee. It's very sticky and messy. We'll take our apple spice cake and our toffee and let's drizzle it all over. Yummy. Drizzle down the sides. Then sprinkle a bit of sea salt on top. I like the salty, sweet taste this cake has. Okay, and now we're gonna put just a little quenelle of ice cream on top. We've got our spoon in a hot cup of water. That really helps us scoop the ice cream well. You're gonna scoop it towards you and then turn it around and scoop it back. It's hard in kind of an ice cream container like this. Just do the best that you can. Our ice cream is softened, it really helps. It's been sitting out on the counter for about 30 minutes. So now we've got a nice little quenelle there. And you then just plop it on top. And you've got your sticky toffee apple cake. Let's try our cake. Look at that. Oh, this cake is so moist. Let's try it. Cake's a little spicy from the cinnamon. You've got that sticky, sweet toffee sauce, but the salt really complements it and balances it out. It's just absolute perfection. I hope you liked my sticky toffee apple cake. The full recipe can be found on my food blog at lagameats.com. I've got new videos coming out every Thursday, so hit a like and subscribe below. I'll see you next time. Hey dough!